Alright, Shalom. Double honor to the apostles, to the elder, to GMS. Honor to you brothers that be pushing this truth in sincerity. It's gonna be a quick video, man. Alright. On the thought that has come to mind. Alright, regarding the men of the Lord, namely the men of GMS and the people that teach the same thing at GMS. Alright. How we're likened unto a man, alright, going up against his greatest enemy, right? Alright, namely, you got all kind of adversities that was going to come up against the men of the Lord in the last times. Like it says in the scriptures, I'm going to get here, man. Alright, in the last days, it was going to come scoffers. So, really, I'm talking about the scoffers out here. And the point, I got this picture out here, man. Alright, if you're into your basketball and that, you know that the best you ever seen this man, the so-called great basketball player that you know as Michael Jordan, man. The greatest he ever was against his adversaries, man, his greatest enemies, man, the so-called bad boy Pistons. All right, and that's what the truth is like, man. That's like how the men of the Lord are, man. We're going up against, like the scripture says in I believe it's in the book of Corinthians. All right, because pretty much going to the fact that we ain't warring a carnal warfare, man. This is spiritual warfare, man. We're going up against the spiritual demon Satan, man. But to the point that I'm making here, the truth can only be perfected, alright, once it goes up against a strong adversary, man. Alright, this word is going to be perfected only by way of catching hell, alright, and by way of these scoffers talking shit, man. That's how this truth is going to be perfected, and that's how your faith is going to be perfected as well, man. This man that you see here, man, his game was perfected by him going up against his worst enemies, and he got beaten down and all of that, man, and he didn't succeed. But once he succeeded, man, them bad boy Pistons had to walk out the lockup, had to walk out the stadium, man. If you know about the history, I mean, I don't want to get too carnal with it, alright. But the point I'm making, man, when the Most High raises up his men, the ones that are battle tested, make it through the battle, alright. These dudes are gonna walk down with their heads shamed. In fact, the scripture says, man, they're gonna wear that reproach for the rest of their lives, man. When we get into the kingdom, they're gonna know that it was the niggas that came up against the men of the Lord, because the ones that were held the truth for us, man, they're gonna be set up on a beautiful level, man. All right. So let me get into the scriptures. Like I said, man, I was gonna keep it real quick, because it's just some thoughts that I had on my mind. And it says, this is 2 Peter 3:3. It says, knowing this first, that they shall come in the last days scoffers. So that's what we got right now. That's a clue to know that we're in the last days. All right. It says, in the last days they shall come scoffers, walking after their own lust. So they walk after the lust. They just do as they please, man. That's why you got dudes taking breaks. All right, then coming back when they like, man, the Lord, man, you're talking about the greatest military leader in all the universe, man, and you're gonna take some time out, all right? And I was watching a video for the brother in London, man. He made a great point. If you was getting paid to be out there, you'll be out there, man. How much more so than the kingdom itself? How much less fear do you have than the men that go out there for nothing? I wouldn't say for nothing, because everybody hopes to have something, but furthermore, the men that go out there for fear that they're gonna get their asses whipped, man. Because that's the conviction that you're supposed to have, man. You're supposed to go out there with a conviction, right, knowing that you don't do it if you don't push this word, man, in sincerity, right, not for your own vain gain, you know, for vain glory. And if you don't do it, you should be of the spirit. If you don't do it, man, then the Most High is gonna destroy it. Right, it says, walking after their own lust, saying, where's the promise of his coming? So that's pretty much what these dudes are saying. That's why they debunked the chip, or quote unquote tried to debunk the chip, because you can't really debunk the RFID chip. That is the mark of the beast. It's going to be implanted in the arms. That's a fact. All right, you got dudes out there with all kind of degrees and all kind of information and all of that, and they pretty much say the same thing, man. Right, they're saying what we're saying, but because it's coming from regular men, all right, dudes that you wouldn't have, you know, dudes that are pretty much nobodies in your eyes, right? You got a problem with it, all right? And I'm speaking for myself. You know, you gotta come, you know, correct. I ain't trying to offend anybody out there, but the scripture says, you know, the Most High was gonna save the meek. So it's because it's coming from meek mouths, all right? You got a problem with it, It says, saying, where is the promise of his coming? For since the fathers have fallen asleep, all things continue as they were from the beginning of creation. All right. I'm gonna touch on this real quick. This is Matthew the 5th chapter and 11th verse. It says, blessed are ye when men revile you and persecute you, and shall say all manner of evil against you falsely. So they say falsely. And another thought that came to mind, man. Excuse me. All right, you're like this, man. You're like and I think I mentioned this on another video prior to this. But you dudes are like a grinding stone, man. All right. It is of no worth, right? Unless you're using it to grind. Once the knife is sharpened, all right, and ready for the battle, right, which is gonna be played out when the Lord is there. All right. Once the knife is nice and sharp, you do away with that stone, man. You throw it away, and that's what you do is I come up against the men of GMS. Oh man, you're nothing but a stone that's going to be discarded when it's of no use anymore, because Scripture speaks about in Isaiah the 2nd chapter on the 1st verse. Right, they ain't gonna learn of war anymore, man. When we get into the kingdom, we ain't gonna be learning about. We ain't gonna be thinking about. I mean, judgment is gonna be executed, all right, but we ain't gonna be thinking about going to battle and all of this, that, and the third, man. All right, which is what the Lord's finna to do when He comes back. When you read the book of 2nd Ezra, the 33rd chapter and the 1st verse. In fact, He goes on to say He ain't gonna meet you as a man. That's how bad the Lord's coming back in. He'll come back in His military, right, celestial form. All right, he's gonna be in his battle uniform. All right, so it says there, blessed are ye when men revile you and persecute you, and shall say all manner of evil against you falsely for my sake. Because really, you do it, right? You go against you ain't coming up against us. In other words, you're coming up against the Lord. That's what you're doing. All right, it says rejoice, rejoice, be exceedingly glad, for great is your reward in heaven. For so persecuted they the prophets before you. So they persecuted the prophets before us, right? And where that goes to show you where the prophets coming back, because you do the same. You're going about in the same way, and we're doing exactly the same thing that we did in the foretime. All right, and this is pretty much the last precept. In fact, the second to last precept. This is Isaiah, Ezekiel, the 3rd chapter and the 1st verse. And says, moreover, he said unto me, right, son of man, eat thou that expandest. You eat the scriptures, man. Take the whole roll, right? Eat this roll and speak unto the house of Israel, right? So I opened my mouth and I caused me to eat the roll. And he said unto me, son of man, cause thy belly to eat and feed thy bowels, right, with the roll that I give thee. Then did I eat, right, and it was in my mouth as sweet as honey. All right, so when you first come into this truth, you're gonna be sweet as honey, and you're gonna see the same thing in Ecclesiastes, the 2nd chapter, right? And he said unto me, son of man, go and get thee unto the house of Israel and speak unto us. And then it says, and speak with my words unto them. It says, for thou art not sent to a people of a strange speech and a people of a hard language, but unto the house of Israel, and not to many people of a strange speech as of a hard language, whose language that thou canst understand. Surely if I had sent thee unto them, they would have hearkened unto thee. Right. So if the Lord had sent us unto these different nations, man, they would have got right, man. They would have been they would have got right. They would have got down with the word, man. Right. It says, but the house of Israel will not hearken unto thee. I will not hearken unto me, for all of Israel are impudent children and hard-hearted. Behold, I will make thy face hard strong against their faces, and thy forehead strong against their faces. All right. And last but not least, this is Ecclesiastes 2nd chapter and 1st, which says, my son, if thou wilt come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation. All right. So you got to prepare your mind, right, for dudes that are gonna come up against you, man. Right, talking shit and talking all kind of madness, right? It says, sold for temptation and set thy heart, right, and constantly endure, and make not haste in the time of trouble, but cleave unto him, right, and depart not away, that thou mayest be increased, right, at the last end, right. And this one, this precept is pretty much self-explanatory, but it's pretty much letting you know you got to be humble and take whatever is put upon you. All right, it says, for whatsoever is brought upon thee, take thee cheerfully, and be patient when thou art change to a low state. So things ain't just gonna move, boom, how you envision them to. Ain't gonna move at the speed that you want them to. So you gotta be patient when you're change to a low state. Just deal with deal with how you're dealing, and when the Most High is ready to move you up to the next level, he'll move you up. It says, "For his gold is tried in the furnace, an acceptable man in the furnace of adversity." All right. So the Most High is trying us in the furnace of adversity, man. He's grinding us in that stone, man. He's wielding his battle axe. All right. He's bringing it through by way of the adversity of them people that are gonna come up against the truth, man. All right. So just like how you had this, man, you were going up against him, and he wouldn't have been ever as great as they say he was, right? If it hadn't been for his greatest adversities, man. Right? But guess what, man? Nobody talks about these dudes, all right? And that's how it's gonna be in the kingdom, man. Just roughly paraphrasing, so you can get it in layman's terms, all right? So with that, I'm gonna say double honors to the apostles of GMS. Honor to you brothers that be pushing this truth in sincerity. Shalom.